We're going to dive into IDA or in-depth analysis. So here's a quick crash course on IDA. We introduced this in the full-length webinar on Strategy Smackdown if you want a little bit more information, but here's what you need to know. Materials needed. You're going to need chart paper, post-it notes, and you can also use Jamboard or Google Slides, which I think you'll be able to see as we go through this. When you're doing an IDA, you want to begin with a general inquiry, which is a really fancy word for saying we want a really good question that hooks the students. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to choose 4 to 6 statements, and you're going to put these statements on that chart paper around your room because it's going to ultimately, these statements will be edited by the other students in your class. So you want to have 4 to 6 statements, but if you happen to have a really large class, then you do you and add more. You're going to break the students into group and assign them to a poster. They're ultimately going to get a 2-minute turn to begin with at each poster. They should write 1 sentence each to add to the original response. That will add depth. You can differentiate this. They can come up with 1 sentence as a group if that makes it easier. So what do I mean when I say add depth? So students can add some of the following: real world examples, historical examples, connections to another unit, vocabulary, word definitions, relevant quotes. The possibilities are endless. After all the students have included their lines, their sentences, their additions, the entire group should verify that they have included in this response that are going to make changes. So basically, we want to make sure that they're giving factual information so that they're not sending other kids who come to that poster down the wrong rabbit hole, if you will. That process is going to take about 4 to 5 minutes. So keep in mind, 2 minutes to review, about 4 to 5 minutes. So right now we're still under 10 minutes in, and that's even with explaining the directions. Here's what I want you to do now. Admire and acquire, my friends. So if we take a look at age 12, specifically element A, which states that students will explain how the continued development of Atlanta under mayors Maynard Jackson and Andrew Young impacted the state. So you could do this type of activity and begin with the initial inquiry. How can one person, or in this case persons, cause so much change? Specifically in this case, we're talking about how can Maynard Jackson cause so much change, or Andrew Young cause so much change. So here are 3 statements to add to your chart paper to get your students started. First, Maynard Jackson was the first African-American to serve as mayor of Atlanta. 2, one of Jackson's main priorities was to ensure growth and equity for minority-owned businesses. And third and final, Andrew Young was pivotal in bringing the 1996 Olympics to Atlanta. So you can use these, again, admire and acquire, add more statements to your own, and then let the students go and share their information. If you've got questions after this, there's a few ways that you can get a hold of all of us and ask those questions. You can begin by joining First and Foremost our Georgia DOE community, or you can follow us on any of the socials that you see here. As a reminder, if you're an 8th grade teacher, not only do we have a Facebook that is specific to Georgia social studies, but we have one specifically for 8th grade. So I hope you'll take the time to check it out. I hope you'll take the time to use this activity, and good luck.